I wonder what direction this track will take based on name. If it's anything along the orchestral symphonic line, maybe it would be constituted under symphonic metal, I'm easily game. Or, maybe my interpretation is completely off. I'll let VOLTURIAN fully manifest this for me. But I still, go in and I look at Haunting Symphony and I think I have my inclination as perhaps where this could go in translation. Either way, I'm definitely excited to expand my library with VOLTURIAN. I've already given a first introduction to their work, as promised a long time ago when I covered her collaboration, or Federica Lana's, the main vocalist here, if you're not familiar with VOLTURIAN, with Mortemia's Frozen cover of Madonna's original piece. And that was, again, such a great introduction, but I promised back then I would give VOLTURIAN a look, and I'm here today to do just that. And with the first track being New Life, and of course me enjoying it, as I figured I would anyway, I'm very excited to hear more from VOLTURIAN and see more of their metal expertise come into focus. Again, I was quite impressed by that first work. So continuing on, I am eager to expand my library, as I am with really any new fresh talent, especially among the European scene. Some of you know how much I love this area of the world. I mean, their metal library is truly worth recognizing and adoring, because there's just so much talent in that space. And with music generally, I love getting first introductions to unfamiliar names, maybe even generally. I don't know how many of you perhaps know VOLTURIAN, right? I think of my social circle and probably nobody knows them, but again, I like going perhaps in the more obscure, and the route that I've taken in regard to Europe. I've spent so much time in this realm that they're notable names to me, but maybe they're not to others. So maybe for you, this is a first impression, when I would love if that is the case, because in part it's satisfying the goal that I've had since I've been trying to make music a more dominant form here, in particular in showcasing new talents and being able to have that shared experience between you and I, experiencing a first introduction to many noteworthy artists that certainly deserve attention. I would say that is true for VOLTURIAN. Let's go ahead and consult Haunting Symphony and see which direction this track takes. I'm really eager to hear it and define it for myself. Again, it falls along the line of what I'm thinking of, or maybe it's going to go an entirely separate way. Either way, I'm open. It's more from VOLTURIAN. I'm easily game. I'm going to go ahead and cue up the song, which is accompanied by the video, which in particular, because I've lined up a pretty big, sizable list of their tracks. That's how I'm judging them according to the music videos that got releases. And I'm perusing my way through Crimson right now, and then we'll get to the second album after. And if you're somebody that's not familiar with the way I format my music coverage on this channel, this is the first video for you in that regard. I try and accommodate my talent, or my content, to suit audience taste. If you're somebody who likes to read along with the manuscript of the piece and understand the narrative the artist is speaking to, I will have that incorporated in the video, and you can read the lyrics for yourself as we proceed forward. Or if you just want to watch the video and hear the song, you can do that too, because I'm about to cue that up. Good opener. Solid. I hear that symphonic medley. It's sort of like in the line of a piano orchestra's piece. Okay, I like the rhythm here. It's actually a bit more accelerated than I thought. Reminds me of like a classical artist in terms of piano debut. Federica Lana really has a beautiful range. I don't think I've heard it go that high in some of the past works I've consulted. Beautiful. Really, I can't say I've had the pleasure of being introduced to any Italian singers before, and I'm very impressed with her. It definitely has a symphonic tone. And it has that energy in terms of the metal background, but there's something about the structure of the piece that reminds me a lot of what you would hear in a symphony. Primarily those vocals in terms of the interludes, and the introduction of the different verses, it's just great. Speaking of dreams, it has a real contemplative quality to it, like you're almost seeing it as a vision. It could be the lighter color, the shades, like maybe some of these nature shots, it could be that. It gives it maybe that aesthetic. But there's just something on the piece that comes across a bit more ethereal and energy. The breakdown session, that's a good pause. Keeps momentum up though, it's a very engaging piece. And the segment in particular has a great liveliness. And as a metalhead, I do tend to prefer the agitated nature of some of the music when it gets more aggressive, and I like what I'm hearing here. It's a good mix, especially in this part. Like, it's going to get softer, I'm sure, and this is going to be the transitional measure. Well, maybe it'll get lively again before. We'll see. Yeah, apparently. Okay, I told you it's going to get softer a bit, and that's a traditional phrase. That works. Again, she has such a natural daintiness to her voice, it makes it quite charming. But it's a powerful one nonetheless. And she is extremely talented. Just listening to Federica Lana, I've fallen in love with her talents. She really is just a staple in styles. Many of the European artists I tend to listen to are, especially among the bands that have female singers in terms of their lead membership. I've come across so many that just have such a dynamic presence to them, and Federica Lana is no different. Maybe it is that Italian luster. Again, I haven't come across that yet. I've spent a lot of time with Swedish singers, Swiss singers, Dutch singers, German singers. Like, I've been all over the place. Italian? Not yet. Federica Lana is the first introduction, and it's quite beautiful in terms of VOLTURIAN. I'm having an exquisite time right now. You know, and like I said, it kind of had the energy going in terms of when you read the name Haunting Symphony. There is that symphonic edge that it kind of fits into the symphonic metal atmosphere. It has that background. When you listen to the piece, it operates with this wider scope of what you would experience. And even at first when the song introduces itself, I started feeling like I'm listening to like a classic symphony, maybe by one of the great artists, let's say like Beethoven or Mozart. It had that pattern to it that it was very reminiscent in structure, even if, again, it's banking more on the aggressive metal nature. I found it quite charming and inviting that perhaps, again, this symphonic attribution in the title fits with the tone of the piece. And even then, Lana's presence really gives a great evoking of that type of sentiment in the range of the atmosphere of the song. I really felt like it was evoking that style. And haunting, yeah, it's got a bit of a troublesome nature to it. Again, the key that they picked is a little more malevolent. It's a bit darker. I thought it was good, though, and a good vision of the piece in regards to the lyrics as well. It has a dreamlike quality, so I felt the attribution of terminology within the construction worked well. When you watch the video as well, it's a good compliment, even if, again, it's just maybe a performance in nature. Much like the way Mortimia films his videos. It's kind of funny. Like, again, she's a perfect fit. She certainly was a collaborative artist. Even in style, it's similar. And there really is a thread between the two of them in terms of, collaborations. It makes complete sense. Good, charming piece. Good as always, really. I like the metal background. It's got an aggressive edge. That's, of course, what I gravitate to in terms of genre preference. I love that. And as a European talent, again, VOLTURIAN impresses me. Crimson has been a pleasure of an album to listen to as far as I've waded into it. I've got many more works lined up. As I said, I got a good library of their tracks for future coverage, so keep your eyes peeled for more. What are your guys' thoughts of that piece? I mean, some of you will probably come to us being longtime VOLTURIAN fans. I'd love to hear perhaps what your thoughts were, even though you've had a longer relationship with it, I'm sure, given that it's been around for about 2 years. I'm a bit behind. But, you come across fresh introductions. And I do like that in terms of keenly Mortimia. That's been the case for a variety of artists. Melissa Bonney, Erica Olsen, Linda Tony Gran. It's always been his pieces in terms of a collaborative model that introduced me, and Federica Lana is no different. That's how I found out about VOLTURIAN, is through him. And she really does just have an exquisite talent. I'd love to hear perhaps you have the same reverence as a longtime fan that I am experiencing right now as somebody who's just wading in. And maybe for some of you, you're in that same space that I was when I started covering them, that you had never heard of their music before, but maybe you knew Federica Lana from something you've heard, or perhaps you didn't know and you went completely, uninformed. I'd love to hear your perspective on the piece down below, should you wish to disclose it. I, again, think it's an exquisite work. Much like New Life, so far this album is a good collection of tracks. I can't wait to hear more from it though, because Haunting Symphony is a good addition. It does have that symphonic presence to it that I feel again evokes a classical symphony from what you might hear in a traditional orchestra, or from again a classic piece of music with that metal background and Federica Lana's very individual vocal style. I love listening to her. She's a great presence on this piece. Wonderful compliment. Good piece of work. Thank you so much for watching this video. Before you bounce, feel free to drop a like and comment, subscribe to this channel with a ding on the bell, and share this video with your friends. And consider checking out the description here. There you'll find links to my other channels, as well as addresses to my other social media accounts and ways you can help support my work if you feel so inclined. May God bless you, and looking forward to when our paths cross again.